Yeah, welcome to the DOJO, baby, man. Have no fear. TyKwonDoe is here, man. We in the DOJO, baby. Listen, I have a long-awaited video, a video that has been on my mind from the very first time that I've ever even talked about or mentioned this on or off camera. And I love to have the privilege to be able to bring it to my platform. Now that I have such a huge platform and such a huge outreach, so that this can reach many people and touch many homes and many devices and many different places in the world. And you'll see by the end of this video that you were meant to click on this. You clicked on this for a reason. There was something in this video that you were meant to hear and meant to see at this exact time, on this day, this hour, whatever the case may be. Could be watching this 50 years from now and I'm not even around or whatever. Now listen. This video right here will probably be one of the most impactful videos when it comes to the relationship that you have with yourself, in the way that you see yourself, in the way that you see your goals, in the way that you see your relationships, in the way that you see your time. This right here is called the pyramid of self-mastery, or the 7 steps to self-mastery, knowledge of self-power, all types of things. What I am going to do, if you don't know who I am, it's the first time seeing me, my name is TyKwonDoe, aka Ty, aka TyKwon, and I'm going to make calculus look like 1 + 1. So this is going to be a very complex video. It's going to be a very deep video. It's meant to make you think. It's meant to make you question things, connect dots that you might have not have even seen before, and trust me to explain it, trust me to break it down for you, trust me to introduce you to this topic, because this is something I take very seriously, passionately, and it means a lot to me to be able to explain these types of things in my own words, with my own perspective, and give my own intuitive touch on it. So, if you followed me for a long time now, though, to speak to you, you know that when I used to make videos on TikTok, I actually introduced this topic before, and I did like an 8-video series or 7-part series on each tier or part of the pyramid. So I've already went down this loop before, but now with YouTube I get to go in depth. I don't have to squeeze it in a 1-minute video. I don't have to take my time. I don't have to rush it. I can take my time. Let's start from the bottom up, and I want to say that I have a perfect metaphor for this video. I have a perfect metaphor so that, if my words aren't enough, you could just picture this in something that is familiar to you. So do you know how in school they told us Columbus discovered America, right? Or, just think of Christopher Columbus and, the voyage to landing in America, period, right? Just think of that. Just think of that. And now that will help us understand each of these layers and how they're related, how they're connected, and why they're in the exact order that they're in. You will also notice that as I get into explaining this, each order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, awareness, then exploration, then discovery, then understanding, then love, these are in order by design and with a purpose and a reason. And you will begin to see that as I go through this metaphor and connect the dots with that. Now, with such a long introduction, I haven't even started saying anything yet. I wanted to give you that context because, again, this is going to be deep. Let's dive into it. Now listen, self-awareness. With Christopher Columbus taking that voyage or that trip, to discover or find something new, right? There's the awareness that there's more out there in the world than, Europe, or, I think it was Spain, I believe. You have to be aware that there's something out there, that there's more to yourself, there's more to the world, in order for you to want to explore it and then discover it and then start to begin to understand it and then to accept or love it and then transform what you have found. You start with the level of awareness because out of sight, out of mind, simply put. So the self-awareness comes first, because if you aren't aware, you won't care. You know what I'm saying? So if you aren't realizing that, hey, there's something going on between me and me, my relationship with myself, that I have never, seen before, I've not, learned its potential, or has gotten messed up sometime in my life, through my trauma, past experiences, in relationships or what I have been taught growing up. Because if you've ever seen my video on the allegory of the cave and the levels of mental complexities, I talked a lot about in that video how naturally growing up, all of us are products of our environment. We're passed down stories. We're with our mom, our dad, cousins, aunts, uncles, friends outside in the neighborhood, whatever country you're in. We're given this identity on our blank slate. We're passed this down, and then sometimes people pick up a lot of different things, such as misogyny, racism, xenophobia, homophobia, all different types of things. These things are learned because as a blank slate, you just perceive and you're open-minded to the world. You just see things as they are, not as they're supposed to be. Now, I continue that on to say that we start with the level of self-awareness, because now you're aware. If somebody else is not aware, they won't care. Like I said, they won't even begin to go to the levels of where you go into this pyramid. So for Columbus to even go on the voyage in itself, to go on this trip to explore, right, he had to be aware that there was more to the world. Very simple part of the pyramid, very easy to understand and explain. We got to that part. The exploration is the actual going and seeing and trying to discover. You're just going on this path. This looks like, now that you're aware that something is there, you start asking questions. You start, just imagine that you don't know, there's gray areas in the map. And the further you go, the more you discover the pieces of the map and it starts becoming clear. So this looks like asking yourself questions. This looks like, just exploring. It's sort of open-minded because you don't know exactly what you're looking for and you don't know exactly what you're going to find. All you're doing is moving on the whim that there's more to be found, what you are aware of. So, for example, let's say, I had a Patreon call earlier, and the guy said, he procrastinated. And part of that reason was that he was addicted to, adult content. And this is the awareness. That's the awareness part. I procrastinate a lot. And, I also have this addiction to whatever, pornographic content, whatever the case may be. That's the awareness. He has to explore this to say that, why am I addicted to, this content? Why do I procrastinate? What is the origin or the root of what's going on, or this problem or thing that I'm aware of going on within myself that I don't like, that I have a great disdain for, that I'm not pleased with it, or that is not fulfilling me in my state of being as a person. Now, what I like to do with these things, I don't like to make them sound complicated. I don't like to sound smart. I don't like to sound like, I'm a genius or some shit. I just like to make it to where it's relatable and it's understandable. Exploration comes before discovery, because before Columbus, I don't even think Columbus was trying to discover America. Columbus was just looking for, I forget what it was, but he ended up stumbling into America, right? For what he thought was India, I believe. I don't remember. You guys can correct me on my history. The point being is that as you explore, you'll now discover that, oh shit, like I'm going to use that example from that anonymous person. This addiction I have for this content, or the reason I procrastinate, is actually coming from the simple fact that, like, I have no direction. I don't know my purpose. I don't have any plan. I don't have any... Wow, like you start finding out things about yourself, a hard truth that you might have been avoiding. And a lot of this is so complicated and tender for people, because in order to do this, you're going to have to view yourself authentically and holistically. You can't view yourself, and this is the hardest part, you can't view yourself through the lens that you were given, through the lens of, this is weird, this is, whatever titles or judgments come through your mind. That is only blinding your vision from seeing yourself clearly and holistically. So when Columbus goes and is aware that there's more to the world, and then that leads to exploring the world, and then that leads to discovering this land, or this issue, or this problem, he doesn't understand what he just discovered. He doesn't know how far the country goes, how many miles there is from the East Coast to the West Coast, or from the North to the South, or if there's people in this land, or that the upper northern hemisphere of America is colder and there's a bunch of trees up here, whereas though the southern hemisphere, it's warmer, it's a lot of wide land, There's different animals from the north to the south. Which animals are there? He doesn't understand what is discovered yet. He just knows that he discovered these things. And now the understanding part of the discovery is where you start getting into the nitty-gritty details of what you just discovered, and you start to understand what it is that you have found. And then as I connect that metaphor to Columbus discovering America, and obviously Columbus didn't discover it. In reality, there were already indigenous people here, but we're not here to discuss those details. I'm just using this metaphor to go and use this escalation of the pyramid. As Columbus is now understanding what he discovered, as you are looking into yourself and your relationship with yourself, and you're making sense of and understanding what you discovered, you now have to begin to say, what is it about what I have discovered that I have been taught to view a certain way? For example, as men, right? And you could be watching this as a woman as well, but I'll just use an example. As men, we are taught that our masculinity is our strength. And we have a very barbaric and, whatever form of looking at masculinity. Chest on my hair, muscles, strength, deep voice, whatever the case may be, right? So how we have conceptualized our masculinity can be also the same reason it is being weaponized within us, that we stray away from any type of feminine energy that is within us, even though as humans we have a balance between both of them, feminine and masculine energy. And I say that to say, and I'm connected this to the pyramid, because once you begin to understand what you are as you are, directly as you are, you begin to accept all that it is. Okay, the northeastern part of this land is cold. The bottom part is hot. The western part has a bunch of desertous areas. The middle has a lot of grassy plains. The east coast, there's beaches over here. There's this, there's that. It's cool. Whatever it is that it is, you have to start to learn to view it and understand it holistically. Because there are sides of yourself, the shadow, the dark side of yourself, which you have probably been neglecting, which you have probably been ashamed of, which you have probably been, bearing beneath the identity of what you want to be, or what you choose to be, because that's who you're supposed to be to those around you, to your demographic identity. Like, just think of me. I'm 20 years old. African American. I'm from Philadelphia. It's certain things that are attached to this identity which was given to me, which I now have to say, well, who am I outside of that? Well, who am I as I am? And just me. Not anything attached or connected to me as an identity, but who do I decide I am? Who do I understand myself to be? You have to learn to separate the two, because there comes a time where if you don't understand what you are, you can never what? Have self-love. And I told y'all, as we begin to go up in each layer of this pyramid, each level is connected to the one behind it, and that's for a reason. Each one is in order for a reason. Let me turn this notification off. Let's keep going. You get to that level of self-love and after understanding, because your love for self and this sort of self-love will come from the fact that you've learned to accept yourself holistically. And I keep repeating the word holistically, because you have to accept yourself in everything that you are. Your flaws, your desires, your habits, the good, the bad, which you even conceptualize as good and bad, why you conceptualize it as good and bad to who? And who taught you that it was good and bad? Who taught you that the way your body is shaped is good or bad? And what are these reasons, and where are they coming from? And you see, when you start to love yourself, when you start to accept yourself as you are, completely and directly as that, you cannot do this without understanding who you are, because there's no foundation. There's no foundation for it. You'll just be pretending. Oh, I think I love who I am because this is what's supported in society. This is what people think is good. And you'll continuously play this game of viewing yourself through the eyes of others, and you'll only be as good as they think you can be. But you'll never be as good as you choose to be. You'll never be yourself genuinely. And the key part in the whole discovering and understanding and exploring part of this is that you begin to see that there are things which are separating you from yourself, which have been tacked on and, pushed in and fed into your mind. And the hardest part is how attached you are to those specific things. And like I said, it could be any identity. It could be being a thug. It could be being sexy or handsome. It could be being cool. It could be being smart. It could be being a good son, a good daughter, a good mom, a good dad, a good cousin. And the sort of structure which has put you, the sort of structure which you are fitting into to feel good living up to that standard. I'm trying to be very careful and concise with my words here because I want you to be able to see how this can be placed under different circumstances, identities, structures. It's very fluid because this applies to many different layers and many different examples in our lives. And it gets even more complicated because you can be in a bundle of just tightly woven threads of like puppet strings of where you are in your life, and you don't even understand why you're miserable because you're being you're being puppeteered, you're being strung along, you're being pull this way, pull that way. And all these strings are in you as a person, and you're being pulled one way and told to do one way. And you're dancing like a puppet, and you're playing this role, and you're fulfilling, whatever it is you have to be, and whatever that identity is. It could be a fucking rock star, or a rapper, or a dancer, or a celebrity. And you're being tacked on and pulled in so many different directions and told what to be and how to be it and what to be to make others happy. And you don't even realize how deeply layered the onion is and why it's your sense of self is so miserable, and why you're so unhappy, and why you don't like your life, and why no matter what you do, you just don't feel happy. And you begin to create addictions. Now, when I say the word addiction, I tell y'all what. Here's why I'm not judgmental when it comes to any addiction, because it could be anything. It could be anything, whether it's heroin, shopping, sex, alcohol, watching porn. Everyone has an addiction. Everyone has an addiction. I feel like addictions lead life. You need to choose your addiction. What is your addiction? You need to choose an addiction which is fulfilling and not satisfying, which is fulfilling and not fun, which is fulfilling and not high or low. And I'll make the distinction because I have an addiction. My addiction is fulfilling. My addiction does not make me feel high and then I come down from that feeling. My addiction does not pull me and yank me this way. My addiction feeds my soul. I would not be able to live without my addiction. If it were illegal to do what I would do, to do what I am addicted to doing, I would be in jail, no questions asked. It is and I'll give you another word for this addiction. People tend to call it a purpose. Your purpose in life. People tend to call it, their reason for whatever you want to call it, right? I'm just going to use the word addiction because I'm going to paint it in a new picture. And you cannot get to the point where, actually, let me make this point. Let me make this distinction between the addiction that makes you feel high and low versus the addiction that is fulfilling. The addictions, follow me here because it's about to hit home. The addictions that make you feel high and low, you have to repeatedly do them or use them, and you'll go back to them because our brain has something called dopamine, and this substance that, or whatever, the signal with these neurons or whatever that's firing in our brain. And I'm fucking this whole thing up, but I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. This feeling that we get from whatever that addiction is, our brain becomes addicted to that dopamine feeling or that thing itself. And when you are living a life which is not fulfilling, which does not sustain you spiritually, mentally, intellectually, we look for these addictions which are fun, satisfying, and give us that high because our normal bar for how we feel, our flat line of our natural mood or our natural state of being is so low that when we take that high or that roller coaster of whatever that addiction is, like I said, it could be shopping, sex, a drug, a party, anything. Our natural bar is so low that when we do that thing, it distracts us. That high is so high compared to your norm that you when the come down happens again, you want to go back to that high. And the long-term solution is not to just keep reusing and getting that high or whatever that high is. And like I said, don't think of a drug when I say addiction, because an addiction could be something beautiful because of which you consciously choose to make it. It could be fulfilling to you rather than giving you this sort of high and low and thing that you chase. I'll give you an example of the fulfilling addiction rather than, that explanation of the high and the low. When you learn to hit the problem at its core, instead of chasing the high and the low, but chasing freedom, but chasing a sense of fulfillment, a sense of just a normal state of being where you are content and you feel good from, what it is that you continually practice and how you feel. I'll use my addiction for an example. My addiction is connecting with people and doing so in a way which connects us spiritually, intellectually, or mentally in light of what it is that I can sort of see this thing in people where it's like a light. It's like a spark. It's the same way we can see somebody and their mood is low, they're in a bad mood, whatever the case may be. You guys, anybody that knows me in real life, I like hitting that light in people. And it can be touched in many ways. Sexually, spiritually, mentally, whatever, competitively. It can be hit in so many ways. But I get that fulfillment from that because I know that in people's normal, typical day lives, that they're always told who they need to be. They always feel this expectation, this pressure from life, and that if I can sort of hit that light that's deeply within them, they can sort of feel a side to themselves which they are not used to. The same way I've been doing it for you that you've been watching this video. I don't know your name. I don't know who you are, how old you are, how fat you are, how skinny you are, how tall you are, how short you are, how dark your skin is, how light your skin is, how ugly you are, how pretty you are. I don't know any of this, but I know I'm talking to you. And I'm talking to that part of you which does not care about the external, which does not care about the identity, but the part of you which is you, the part of you where you feel most founded and strengthened in your core. And the reason you are still listening, and the reason that you see me explaining these things, I'm just getting riled up and excited, is because none of this has anything to do with my identity, who I think I am. It just is the part of me that is founded in my core. And I like to connect with people at their cores because it's an inspiration which you can't shake, which is why you're still listening. And it doesn't matter what your goal is or how you're trying to change, but you're just curious. You're interested. You're involved. You're engaged. You're paying attention. And I say that to say that this is a part of you which you can become addicted to being in tune with. Fuck my video. Fuck my explanation. Fuck me. Who's TyKwonDoe? Nobody. You see this part of you which is connected to self? You see how I'm explaining this and I'm, making this picture and painting this detail? You can just be this at all times, consciously choosing to be. And what you can do is when you get this purpose or this thing you're addicted to, is you can sort of consciously craft what it is and how it is you want to make this impact. I chose to do it through, YouTube videos, one-on-one calls, through my conversation and explaining things. Somebody may have done it through writing poems, making music, their children, their family, food, a non-fund profit organization, connecting back to kids that come from inner city poverty like they did, running a basketball program to give people an outlet for their free time. Hold on. Let me take a sip of water. There are so many different ways which you can take that core from who you are and become addicted to following that passion in a way which is fulfilling. But you have to learn to be aware of it, explore it, discover it, and understand it, and then love it. Excuse me, I'm a little sick right now, but I'm getting really, really enthusiastic explaining this because the beauty in this is that you start to learn how, as individuals, we are so unique in so many different ways of who we are, and that you are not me and I'm not you, but for a good reason. We're all different pieces of the puzzle. We only fit in because we're different. Puzzles only fit in because each piece is different. They're not meant to be the same. You had the same piece, you would never fulfill the whole picture to the puzzle. So I may do it the YouTube content, dating advice, roasting people on camera, talking trash, and I may be my age and I may hit my target and demographic. You may be completely different from me in so many ways, and that's perfect because you can hit a crowd, you can reach people that I can't. You can spread a message that I can't. You can provide a perspective that I can't. And once you sort of understand that and accept yourself and love yourself as you are and who you are, flaws, strengths, everything, you start to realize you were made this way for a reason. A reason greater than yourself, because guess what? We have such a finite and limited life on this planet. Such a limited and finite time on this planet. Especially in the perspective of our universal brothers and sisters, the planets, the stars, and all of these things, which are made up of different material, reorganized in different ways than us. You start to understand that this limited and shared experience that we have here, you can listen. I feel like I'm going on a tangent from the pyramid, so I'm gonna come back because I was just about to make it deep. I was just about to make it deep in that. Let's go back to self-love and then how love and self-love and acceptance leads to transformation. That love and understanding and acceptance and discovery and exploration and awareness leads into transformation, because now that you accept yourself as you are and who you are, the next thing is that you become addicted to this purpose and this impact or this goal that you have for whatever it is for yourself in your life, right? And then you say, well, I'll use myself as an example. That transformation had to come in because I had to realize I was lazy. I was a procrastinator. I didn't have the determination. I didn't have the knowledge that I needed. I didn't have the discipline. You'll start to realize what you want to be and what you are separate. And in order to become what you want to be and align yourself with that, in order to do what you want to do and have what you want to have, you need to start with the be. Well, I am this and I need to be that in order to do that and have that. Let's just make this simple. Like I said, I don't like to make these things complicated. So you then have to realize, what is it about myself I have to transform? What is it about myself I have to change in order to align or become more like that which I want to be? So then you say, you can compare and contrast for simple words. I have to stop doing this. I have to start doing that. I have to do a less of that and do more of this. I have to learn this and unlearn that, because I have to transform. I have to change. And now I like to make this part of the process very simple, but this is probably the hardest part, because it's just as simple as doing it. But what we have an immunity to change within ourselves. because of what? Our comfort zones and what we consider safe and secure. Our comfort zone is meant to keep us safe. But what you have to consciously do is change what you consider safe and what you are comfortable with being comfortable. I'll give you an example. Before I transformed, before I went into that level of change in order to be what I need to be, in order to do what I need to do, in order to have what I need to have, my comfort zone made me feel safe. Being lazy, procrastinating, being mediocre, doing enough was my level of comfort and safety because it didn't ask anything more of myself. It didn't push me to do anything else. It didn't push me to try harder, to be exhausted, to stay up later, to wake up earlier, to learn new things, to change. It didn't push me to do all these hard things on myself. It was comfortable, it was safe, it felt good. I had to change my whole entire sense of what comfort and safety is because now guess what? I am uncomfortable. I am uncomfortable being lazy. I am uncomfortable sitting down and laying down and wasting my time. I will be on Instagram scrolling and then literally sit there and ask myself, what am I doing? Why am I reading these stories? Why am I watching this video? I'm telling you, you have to create the norm of what comfort is, or else your body and your mind will decide for you. Because guess what? Because I know what it takes to do what I need to do and have what I have. I know the kind of person I need to be, and I cannot be the person who just scrolls wanderously and wastes time. I need to be the person who uses their time, who even when I take a break, my break is calculated. My break and my decision to take a break and relax is me consciously saying, let's chill and let's lean back, and it can be in complete silence, not scrolling or not wandering, but just sitting there. If you don't decide what comfort is to you, it will be decided for you. But fuck that part. Let's get into deciding what comfort is for you. My comfort is when I lay in the bed at night and I'm about to go to sleep and I can sit there and say, I gave my all to my last 24 hours. I left it all out there. Everything I did today in my last 24 hours, I did not hold back. I did not hesitate. I did not wait. I decided, I took action. That is my comfort. I would be uncomfortable sitting there knowing that I decided not to do something or not to think about something or not to make or take action on something based on I don't feel like doing it. That would make me extremely uncomfortable. And guess what? You know it does. Because every time you procrastinate, all the days or the years or the months or the weeks, and I don't know why I took that and went backwards, but all that time that goes by, you're miserable. This shit that you've been waiting to do and that you've been wanting to do, it never leaves you. It haunts you, doesn't it? That shit follows your mind. It's heavy on you. I know. That shit is a boulder on your shoulder. It never leaves you. The longer you pretend that it's not there, the longer that you pretend it doesn't matter, the heavier it gets. You're already uncomfortable. So what you need to do is claim that uncomfort. You know what? If I'm gonna be miserable, if I'm gonna be unhappy, if I'm gonna be tired, because guess what? That's another thing. When you're depressed, it's this sort of tiredness that you get to you just sleep. And you just sleep and you sleep and you sleep and you wake up tired and you sleep again and then you wake up again and you're still tired, so you sleep and then you're tired of sleeping and you know what? I decided and I said, you know what? If I'm gonna be tired, I'm gonna be tired from staying up too late. If I'm gonna be tired, I'm gonna be tired of thinking too much. If I'm gonna be tired, I'm gonna be tired of working too much. I'm not gonna be tired of sleeping. I'm not going to be tired of wandering and being lost in life. I'm going to choose my tired. I'm going to choose my struggle consciously and intentionally. Because guess what? When you start learning to be tired from a conscious and intentional addiction or a purpose or direction in life that you're going towards, that's the fulfillment. You wake up tomorrow and do the same exact thing with the same energy and intensity because you know where you're going. And you know that there's only one way to get there. Right now. There's not next week I'm going to start it and think about it. Right now. Right now is going to get me there. Because right now is all I have. The future doesn't exist. What is tomorrow? You might have some shit planned at 5 o'clock tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Go grab that shit. Go pick it up. You can't. It doesn't exist. You only have right now. There only is right now. So you can do things in the now, whether it's thinking, preparing, planning, or even taking action, which that is action in itself. But this sort of tiredness, you accept it. You sort of become it because it's like, and I want to get even more specific because I don't want to just keep talking and where I'm trying to help you understand and explain to you. Let's get specific. Before I, created this YouTube channel and all this content and this, with the page you're seeing now on whatever platform you're watching this on, it could even be TikTok, could even be YouTube, whatever it is, right? There is no difference in the me who had 0 subscribers, 0 videos, and the me who has over 300 videos and at this point in time, probably 210,000 subscribers. I had to consciously and intentionally decide that I'm going to upload every day. I'm going to get better at making thumbnails. I'm going to get better at making titles, making my description, creating the tags in my videos so that they hit the algorithm, making TikTok videos so that my content reaches different people. I'm going to have to cut out going and hanging out with friends, spending time with women, partying, or any substance which would distract my mind, because I need myself for myself in order to focus and do what I need to do, because there are others out there who want the same thing. There is a version of myself which is doing nothing and has nothing. And I'm going to consciously and intentionally choose to be that version of myself which has everything and anything. And I had to say, what are the habits, the actions, the decision, the decisions, the type of thinking that is separate from that self? Because guess what? Even though you don't know what it takes to become what you want to be, you know what it doesn't take. I knew that scrolling on Instagram all day wasn't going to get me there. I knew that waiting and sitting on my ass wasn't going to get me there. I know that going around and spending time, and guess what? Guess how smart you become, and guess how consciously and intentional you become as a planner and as the captain of your ship and at the center of the fate of your universe and being the master of that. Every single detail in your life fits into the plan. So even when I go spend time with a woman, or when I spend time with my friends, or when I go scroll through Instagram, all of that counts. I have calculated what I'm doing with it and how I'm using it to collaborate with that in my plan and my bigger purpose. But you have to listen. This takes breaking away from those distractions. And guess what it starts with? I have my guy, Steve the Dean, the Man Mindset. He has a great mental practice for people. He tells them get a 100-piece puzzle set, drop it on the floor, throw away the box, throw away the instructions, and then make that puzzle. And whether you really do that or not, what you need to understand is that metaphorically speaking, when you can sit there and be lost and not know what to do and not know what to think or not know where to start and still fall into your own arms, fall into your own expertise, begin to what? Trust yourself. That relationship, that skill is fundamental for any and every circumstance in your life. Because guess what? I don't care if it's figuring out that puzzle piece. I don't care if it's approaching that woman. I don't care if it's going into that job interview. I don't care if it's making the title for this video. Excuse me. I don't care if it's figuring out how to increase my income. There are going to be so many different circumstances where that may be new to me, where I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to start. I have no clue. Listen, I'm trying to make this puzzle. I don't have no instructions. I don't even have the picture of the box to know what it's supposed to look like. What the fuck? And I still have to figure it out. And simply put, when you start learning the relationship with yourself and this level of lostness and not knowing what to do, and you still say, you know what, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to decide and I'm going to just do it. And I'm going to just start. That practice, this habit, this trust you start to have in yourself, you start feeling like you can do anything. Because what you'll look back and do is say, well, I figured it out before. I made it through before. I handled it before. So this greater challenge, show me something I haven't seen in myself. Because what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Sounds motivational, sounds inspirational, but it's real shit. Because how will you know you can do something if you never try to do it? You'll only know you can do it after you get to the other end. And the sad part is, when we get weak, when we have no understanding, discovery, exploration, awareness of the level of ourself that which we can claim and be, we sort of, there's this gap or this uncertainty is filled with what? Doubt, hesitation, and these limited self-beliefs that we have because we are not comfortable or we do not feel safe pushing ourselves to be or try new things. We are scared. We don't want to find out that we can fail. But guess what? Remember I told you you have to reshape this sense of comfort? I am uncomfortable letting my potential die. I am uncomfortable thinking about the fact that I could be something and I'm choosing not to be. I am uncomfortable not knowing. I have to find out even if I fail. That's what makes me comfortable. You know what? I can sit back. Well, I found out that I couldn't do it. I found out that shit was too hard. Except for the fact that, guess what? I'm not even that kind of person. I'm going to figure out a way to solve it. I'm going to figure out a way to handle it. Because I have built up the habit of solving the puzzle pieces when I don't have any clue on how to do it. See, it's not the specifics of actually getting the puzzle pieces and putting them together, which you can really do to actually practice it on your mind and start to get into thinking, which I would suggest that you actually do, because that's a genius maneuver by my guy Steve the Dean. But what you need to understand is it's simply moments in your life where your back was against the wall and you had to figure that shit out, and you did. Look at some of them. Look at the most people with the greatest level of success and the highest whatever. They were pushed to the point of either breaking or changing their life. And you may be a person in a situation where there was a time in your life where you were at your lowest low and you might have wanted to, unalive yourself. And I won't even, use the words that I want to use. And you said, I'm not. I'm going to persevere. I'm going to just carry on. And here you are right now. Right here. I don't know what time it is you're watching this, what day, what year, what month. I don't know. I don't even know you. But I know you're here for a reason. Claim your reason. Stand on that shit. Be bold about it. Be an arrogant loser. You know what? I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to fail 1,000,000 times. I'll give you something that I think it was Thomas Edison. I'm not sure. I don't think it was Thomas Edison. I don't even care. I'm going to just go into the quote. I think it was whoever discovered the light bulb, right? They said you failed whatever hundreds of times in trying to find the light bulb until you finally got it. And he said, I didn't fail hundreds of times. I successfully found the wrong way. Do you see this mindset and mentality of looking at failure? I successfully found another level of my potential. I successfully found out I don't like to do this thing. I successfully found out it wasn't for me. Reframe what you even see as success and failure. Reframe it. Because all your life is going to be is a set of thoughts. Life comes in from the inside out, not the outside in. What you say, what you do comes from the inside out, not the outside in. And we spend so much time taking it from the outside in. What do people think? What will people say? What will people do? How will they react? And we're experiencing the world from the outside in. We're not even living how we're supposed to live and how we actually are living. We're at bay from our environment when our environment is at bay from the same shit. You're looking for approval from people, which are looking for approval from people. You're like you're like 50 millionth in the line of fucking bullshit approval. And guess what? You could be the perfect specimen of a human. The right height, the right hair length, the right skin, the right muscles, the right shape of body if you're a woman. The right, excuse me, my ear is itching for some reason. My left ear. But listen, and someone would still have an opinion. Someone would still comment on something. Somebody would still say something negative. So what you need to learn to be is something that you can be happy consciously being. And you can accept yourself for. And that transformation. And then in this practice and process, you get to self-mastery. Knowledge of self is having the power of self in all your elements within you. Godlike. And that commences this video. So drop whatever comments you have. You can reach out to me on Patreon one-on-one. It's just so many people that if I try to, reply to everybody, it would get crazy. You also can find me on Twitch live. I read comments on there, live. And I just dropped the bomb on y'all. So I'm gonna let this video sink in. And I'm gonna let this be. Drop whatever comments y'all have. Have discussions in the comments. I already reply to comments. You can reach out to me. And so I hope this video sits on you and weighs on your mind. Watch it more than once. Welcome to the dojo. Baby dojo, to the moon, to Saturn, and we live in the solar system. The limps don't even know we exist. I love y'all, man.